Matt here from ChemistryStudent.com. In this video, we're going to look at the chemistry of mince pies. Modern day mince pies are sweet tasting pastry pies with a filling that's a mixture of fruits, spices and suet. In honour of the festive season we find ourselves in this video we're going to explore some of the interesting chemistry behind mince pies and the reactions and processes that lead to them tasting the way they do, focusing on their pastry, filling and baking. So grab that itchy and completely over-the-top festive jumper, pour a mulled wine and settle into this Christmas special. The pastry of a mince pie is used to encase its filling and is usually made, like most pastries, from a starting base of flour, water, sugar and butter. The flour commonly used for pastry is a powder that is made by grinding up raw grains of wheat and contains high levels of carbohydrates and proteins, depending on the specific type of wheat used. It is the proteins we are interested in here. There are two proteins found in wheat flour that are really important for making pastry: glutenin and gliadin. This is because when water is added to flour and these two proteins get hydrated, bonds form between them, aligning the proteins together and giving rise to a highly complex protein network called gluten that gives structure to the dough. The gliadin are small, round, globular proteins, almost like small balls, and the glutenin are longer, thinner strands, almost like long chains. A specific type of bond called disulfide bridges can occur between parts of each protein, as they both contain an amino acid called cysteine that has sulfur in. These disulfide bridges bond the two proteins together in certain places, forming gluten, and they are very strong, giving the gluten high strength and making it very elastic. There are also forces called hydrogen bonds that hold the proteins together, again forming between specific parts of each protein. To make sure the proteins are as aligned as much as possible, the dough has to be moved and twisted after its ingredients are mixed. This is why dough is traditionally kneaded. The only problem is that for the kind of pastry used in mince pies, we don't want a really doughy, elastic texture. That would be too bread-like. We instead want a nice flaky texture that crumbles. To achieve a perfect balance of chewy pastry that has a crumbly, flaky texture, butter or fat is added to the flour and water mixture. The fats in butter are triglycerides, esters made up of glycerol and fatty acid chains. The fatty acid chains are hydrophobic. This means they don't mix with water. We can see this when we try and mix water and melted butter together. They form two separate layers. Because of this, as the butter coats flour particles in the pastry dough, it prevents them from absorbing excessive water. This then disrupts the bonding that can occur between the proteins in the flour and stops the network of gluten from fully forming, reducing the elastic nature of the pastry and making it more flaky and crumbly. During baking, the high temperatures used also cause the fats to melt and break apart in hydrolysis reactions, releasing free fatty acids that help give the pastry its buttery flavour. The exact melting point of the fat used is really important to get the desired texture. Ideally, the fat used is a solid at room temperature with a higher melting point than butter. Such specific fats designed for this process in baking are referred to as shortening. They are called shortening as you are effectively shortening the strands of gluten being formed in pastry by adding them to the dough, making the pastry less doughy and elastic and more flaky and crumbly. Now we've looked at the casing of mince pies, it's time to look at what's inside them. a unique mixture of fruits, spices and suet that's called mincemeat. Suet is, you may have guessed it, another type of fat. It's almost as though these mince pies aren't actually healthy. Specifically, suet is a solid fat, traditionally obtained from beef or lamb, although vegetable-based suets are now commonly used. The fruits in the mincemeat are really important, as they contain the disaccharide sugar sucrose. During baking, sucrose molecules in the fruit get broken down into two simple sugars, glucose and fructose. The high temperatures during baking then cause these sugars to further break down in a process called caramelization, forming a whole range of compounds that give the filling a lovely burnt caramel sweet taste, as well as a deep brown colour. Hydroxymethylfurfuryls are common examples. The fruits also contain molecules called polyphenols that undergo oxidation, forming complex molecules such as quinones and anthocyanins. These can then go on to further react with other substances in the mixture, contributing to the unique taste and rich flavour of the filling. The real chemistry show in the baking of mince pies, however, comes from something called the Maillard reaction, a famous reaction process that occurs when sugars and proteins are heated together, causing a cascade of reactions to occur. Compounds called melanoidins form that contribute to the brown colour of the mincemeat and are responsible for its characteristic rich flavour. And pyrazines form that are compounds responsible for the roasted and nutty flavours in the pies. There are lots of other specific compounds that get made during the Maillard reaction sequence, and the exact combinations of molecules produced is based on the ingredients and fruits in the mincemeat, as well as the baking process used. It's a bit like a barcode or fingerprint. Every recipe will give rise to a slightly different set of compounds and therefore a different flavour. The Maillard reaction certainly isn't exclusive to mince pies. It occurs pretty much every time sugars and proteins are baked together, so every time you cook something. The exact compounds formed depend on the combinations of sugars and proteins in the starting mixtures, which is why different flavours can arise. One other thing that can occur during the baking of pastry is something called leavening. This only happens if baking powder is added to a pastry mixture. Baking powder contains a mixture of an acid, often cream of tartar, and a base, often bicarbonate of soda. When mixed with water in the dough, the acid and base react together. Specifically, the acid donates a proton to the base and carbon dioxide gets formed. We can see this happening if we add water to a mixture of the two, with the bubbles of gas being produced, carbon dioxide. If this happens in pastry, however, the gas formed is trapped in the dough, and this creates pockets of gas or air bubbles in the pastry, giving it a light and fluffy texture. So there we go, a short snapshot into the wonderful chemistry occurring in the baking and forming of mince pies. Have a wonderful Christmas and happy mince pie eating. Cheers.